On this episode of the Rebel Health Tribe podcast, available at rebelhealthtribe.com, we welcome Michael Schwatz from BAO Food and Drink.com.
Both fermented soda, the way we were doing it, and kombucha are both wild fermentation. For the fermented soda, we would just mix like sugar and fruit syrup and let it culture. And sometimes, you don't know whatever's in the room is going to attack it. So one time yeast would attack it and it would become really bubbly and alcoholic, like noticeably alcoholic.
Right.
One time, vinegar-style bacteria might attack it, and we would end up something that was kind of tart and tasted sort of like vinegar, sort of like kombucha, and was bubbly and was really good. And sometimes we would get something God only knows what attacked it, and just really reek. I mean, it was offensive.
That's coming up. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Health Tribe podcast. I'm Joe Rignola with Michael Roseline. What's up, Michael?
Hey Joe, good morning on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think it's our first morning. I've got the sun shining in through the basement door here, so I feel a little happier than normal because I'm in my basement, but there's some sunshine, so that's good. It's always good. Sun is good. Yeah, Today we are joined by Michael Schwatz from BAO Food and Drink.com. Hey Michael, how's it going?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So you've got a really interesting company, which is not too far from where I am here in New York. So for folks that may not be familiar with it, just tell us kind of what you do and how you got started doing it.
Sure. So now BAO makes a variety of cultured products. When we first started, it was one of my best friends, Mike Brady, and I decided to start a company to provide healthy alternatives to. At first, we wanted to provide a healthy alternative to soda, and we wanted to make a guy's product because we're two guys. We were we saw that most of the products out on the market, organic products, were marketed towards women, and we were in the gym all the time. We rode motorcycles, so we thought it appropriate. We named the company Badass Organics. Nice. And we branded it in such a way that the logo looked like a tattoo, and we went after this guy's market, which we found out and very quickly doesn't exist. Right? Guys really don't buy stuff.
Yeah, we don't buy anything healthy, I guess is what.
Right. So we eventually rebranded. So BAO stands for Badass Organics, but also BAO in Chinese means treasure. So we took the Badass Organics information off of our labels and off of the majority of our website information, and we go with we call it BAO now. And we've had a lot of success. People love our new branding, and our product's doing really well, and We've expanded. We have now 25 different cultured items, from drinks to sauces to cultured vegetables.
Nice. How'd you evolve from just the drinks to the rest of the items? Is that how it started with the drinks?
Yeah, we started with, so we wanted to make soda, right? We wanted to make fermented soda. And we started back in 2009. I was teaching at the Institute of Culinary Education, which was on 23rd Street in Manhattan. And we made our first batches of fermented soda there, and some of them were unbelievably delicious, and some of them were god-awful, smelled like a gym locker. And what we learned was we needed a more stable culture, which led us to kombucha. And we started to make kombucha, and we're really successful. And then all of a sudden, the summer of 2009, there was that big alcohol kombucha scare.
Right.
We had to do a lot of testing and reformulation, and we decided to expand the product line to take away some of the stress of only making kombucha, right? So because we were fermenting, we had a setup we had a room that was warm that allowed us to culture a lot of different things, and so we started to make some vegetable products similar to kimchi or sauerkraut, and a couple of sauces, and that let us expand the product line and give us a little bit more mobility, because nobody really knew what was going to happen with the kombucha market at the time. You know, we didn't know if the government was going to come in and say, oh, it's all alcoholic, you have to get a license from the TTB. So we didn't really know. So we wanted to, cover all our bases.
Right. So you expanded your product line just in case that went in a bad direction.
Right. And it gave us a lot more knowledge and a lot more bandwidth. I mean, when you look at our product line and you see our logo on the shelf, there's potentially 25 different items in some shelf space on the refrigerator. It looks pretty impressive.
It's badass.
Badass, right? Exactly.
I'm curious about the fermented soda. You started out with like a fermented soda, then switched to kombucha. I would imagine there's some similarities there.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, both fermented soda, the way we were doing it, and kombucha are both wild fermentation, right? Mm-hmm. So. For the fermented soda, we would just mix like sugar and fruit syrup and let it culture. And sometimes, you don't know whatever's in the room is going to attack it. So one time yeast would attack it, and it would become really bubbly and alcoholic, like noticeably alcoholic.
Right.
One time, vinegar-style bacteria might attack it, and we would end up something that was kind of tart and tasted sort of like vinegar, sort of like kombucha, and was bubbly and was really good. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we would get something God only knows what attacked it, and it just really reek. I mean, it was offensive. Wow. And at the same time, we were, like most Americans, we had an awful diet, and we were struggling with digestive issues and drinking kombucha because it was on the market, and we're like, hey, wait a minute, like this is easy, we could do this. Mm-hmm. And so we got a couple of starters, and before you know it, we were making, instead of making 5-gallon barrels of kombucha, we're making 55 barrels of kombucha. And then very quickly after we moved to Queens in 2010, we grew to 300 and 500-gallon batches of kombucha. So now we make it in very large quantities. I think right now we probably have about 4,000 gallons fermenting, which is very small as far as beverage companies go, but as far as startup kombucha companies, it's a lot of
pretty good.
A lot of liquid.
Yeah, that's a lot of kombucha.
What was the impetus for actually starting the company? Was it were you wanting to consume healthier products yourself, or did you saw a vacancy there in the market,
so
stuff like that?
I was teaching at ICE at the cooking school, and part of my job was teaching nutrition, and I was really frustrated with the standard nutrition education that's provided in this country is kind of pathetic, right? And we all know that, right? Yep. The American diet is awful. They call it SAD for a reason, standard American diet. It's terrible. And the knowledge that we were supposed to give to our students is awful. It's so wrong. And so I started to do some research, and I, at the time, both of my parents were ill, and I wanted to be more healthy, and started to learn a lot about, in addition to learning about organics and the dangers of GMOs and eating local products, also the knowledge of fermentation, which is completely missing from the American diet. So if you look back at your ancestors, you guys both look like you're probably European descent, right? So your great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother came to this country and with the knowledge of making fermented food, and probably made it herself for her family, and your ancestors, your great-grandparents, your grandparents maybe, had really healthy gut microbiome, really healthy gut bacteria, right? And no digestive issues, everything's fine, right? And then through the 30s and 50s and 60s, when the American diet got industrialized, pasteurized, and homogenized, and we started to eat completely dead food, at the same time, you see all of these digestive issues come up, right? Everybody has acid reflux. Everybody has Crohn's disease. Everybody has celiac. Everybody's got something, right? All these autoimmune disorders. And then maybe 8-10 years ago, people started to make the connection that the missing bacteria, the missing gut bacteria, has a lot to do with a lot of these digestive issues. And so, you know, I mean, this is a really roundabout, but I started to teach about this, and I'm like, well, you know, and my buddy Mike, I mean, it's his fault, right? He badgered me to start a food business. I was perfectly happy teaching at culinary school. Yeah, completely his fault. And
because you didn't have enough stress in your life.
Right, I didn't. Right, I had an easy life, and he wanted to make it more difficult. That's what best friends are for, right?
Yes.
And so we. You know, he said, let's make a food product. And I said, okay, fine. If we're going to do that, it has to be something healthy, right? Which led us to the fermented soda, which led us to kombucha, which then led us to the fermented vegetables and sauces and all the other things. And, you know, one of the part of the mission of BAO is to educate people about the need for good microflora, good beneficial bacteria entering your digestive system on a weekly, if not daily basis.
Sure.
Right? And you know, yes, I would love for everyone to eat BAO, but whether you eat BAO or not, you should buy something else. You should eat miso. You should eat natto, raw vinegar. You know, microbrewed beers which have active yeast still in them.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
Anything that has some kind of microorganism that's alive.
Yeah.
Get that into your gut and broaden your microbiome as much as you can, right? So, like, I'm sipping on one of our new elderberry kombuchas, and it's delicious, and I probably drink 3 or 4 kombuchas a day, but I'm not recommending that. I'm saying maybe once a week you drink a kombucha, and then maybe, you know, you throw some kimchi on your sandwich, throw a little miso in your soup, or, you know, you bring all that into your diet.
Yeah.
That's what's really important.
I got a question. What are the boosts? I've looked through the site and I see, I understand what most of the things are. Like, there's barbecue sauce, there's hot sauce, there's fermented vegetables, there's the kombucha, and then I see boosts and different flavored boosts. What is that?
So I have been in the restaurant business for about 30 years, right?
I'm sorry.
I know,
I'm just
right?
kidding. I spent 9 years.
Right? I'm not in it now, but I was, and I taught it for a long time.
I spent 9 years in there, but I was in the front of the house.
Right.
But yeah, I know how it goes.
Yeah, and so one of the things you learn as a chef is you use all of your leftover products, right? That's how you succeed, right? If you throw things in the garbage, good product in the garbage, you lose. Excuse me. So we were making our fermented vegetables, and we would always end up with a lot of liquid. After we put them in the jar, we'd have like gallons and gallons of liquid left over, right? Mm-hmm. So we took that liquid and added a little green tea to it and made a boost, right?
So, like a little energy, a little organic healthy energy.
So what we did was we added green tea for energy. Mm-hmm. We added, it already had the lactobacillus, tons of lactobacillus. And then we added some group of antioxidants. So the green one has chlorella and spirulina, which are great omega-3 precursors. Mm-hmm. Really good for your diet, really good as prebiotics, which help give an environment for probiotics to grow. Then the red one, we added ginger, hibiscus, and astaxanthin, which is a red algae, which is great for your eyes and your brain. And then we made a yellow one, which has turmeric and dandelion root, and a purple one, which has elderberry and licorice and nigella seed, which is black seed. It's an Indian spice, and it's got...
Black seed is powerful stuff.
Really powerful stuff, mm-hmm. Right. So the idea was to give people a little bit of energy, natural energy. There's no chemical caffeine. It's green tea, right? Mm-hmm. To give them a little probiotic. To give them, there's a little salt in there from the fermentation, so it brings back your electrolytes and to give you some antioxidants. And then, you know, that whole thing, we have a real large following of weightlifters and athletes that swear by these things. They drink them before a workout, after a workout. It helps them with muscle fatigue. It gives them a little energy, and then they get their probiotics at the same time, and it tastes pretty good. So it's a win on all fronts.
Excellent. And where can I've seen your products in various stores, around here, but I haven't seen the Boost. Is that starting to flow into stores too?
Yeah, so they are available to stores. It's a hard sell to your average grocery store.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? They don't really understand it, right? And it can't go, in the unrefrigerated aisle next to the Red Bull and the 5-Hour Energy and stuff. It has to be refrigerated. So it's kind of a hard sell for them. The best place to get those is on our website.
Oh, okay. Great.
And,
Excellent.
we're happy to ship those out.
So you born and raised in New York?
No, I'm actually from outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
A small town about an hour north of Philly.
Okay. And where did you meet your partner? Is it?
So we were buddies at undergraduate at University of Delaware.
Okay.
And he went on to get an MBA at Wharton and get really smart, and I went into the kitchens. Right. So.
What was his degree in?
His undergrad? I have no idea.
So nothing pertaining to food or health.
No, he's not.
That's funny.
Yeah, no.
Interesting. And this is like he's doing that full time. So this is you both. This is your full time gig now.
Yeah, he's moved on. Actually, he now runs a not-for-profit bakery in Yonkers, and
wow.
He does. He's a great businessman, really smart guy, and he's still on the board, and we still talk all the time.
Yeah. So when did you move to New York?
I moved to New York in 91 or 92.
Okay.
And then had a short stint in Maine, and then back to New York.
Excellent. So what was in New York that drew you here?
Food business.
Just the food business. Yeah.
What kind of food restaurants were you in before you did this?
So.
Did you have like a preference of cooking or being involved with certain cuisines or food types?
I worked for the Macchioni family for a long time, which they own Le Cirque.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I worked at Le Cirque for a couple of years, and then I worked at their Italian restaurant, Osteria del Circo. I went to, after undergrad, I went to the Culinary Institute of America, and got formal training and ended up in some really nice French kitchens. I did a stint working in France for a while, and so French and Italian is basically what I cooked when I was in the industry. And then when I taught at the Institute of Culinary Education, it's basically a French-based program. So I taught that for 12 years.
What's your preferred? What's your go-to cooking style?
Probably Italian is the go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last name doesn't show it, but my mom's maiden name is DeVito, and I was raised by half a family of Italians too. So
yeah.
Right.
I started cooking that food when I was young. What's your favorite? You could only have one of your products forever. What would it be?
One of my I'm not really good with one of something forever. I would probably be the
or a favorite. You can't go without, like, you never run out of it in your own stash.
Yeah, our pickle relish.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, it's one of our newer products. It's it's very simple. It's cucumbers, daikon radish, onions, and garlic, a little bit of black pepper, and it's cultured for about 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite tart, and it's a great alternative to like the dead, sweet, pasteurized pickle relishes on the market. It's great on a hot dog, a tofu dog, whatever your
Preference,
diet preference is. We had we made some barbecued like slow roasted lamb a couple days ago, and put that on a roll with some of our pickle relish. It was unbelievable.
You've got some other interesting products. You've got like a fermented ketchup too, and some other condiments, right?
Yep. So we have fermented ketchup is really cool. We actually just won an award from Clean Living magazine they give awards for products that have very few ingredients and are obviously clean labels, clean products that don't have any goop in them, right? Bad stuff in them. And so our fermented ketchup we worked on for a long time. It's a mixture of tomatoes, ginger, garlic, and raisins with a couple spices and salt mixed in, and we culture it just like you would make kimchi, and then we blend it with a stick blender, an immersion blender, and put it in the bottle. It's never cooked. It's it's sour, but it's great. You know, it's
a little spicy.
It's a little not really spicy, but it's really tomatoey and really tart.
Great.
It's really a great product. And then from there, we also have a chipotle barbecue chipotle hot sauce, and so we blended those together, and that made a great barbecue sauce. So of course we made barbecue sauce. So you know, our barbecue sauce is not like other barbecue sauces. It's not sickeningly sweet.
Right.
There's no sugar in it. Right. So it's a little bit spicy and smoky and tomatoey and tart. Right. And then if you want a more traditional barbecue sauce, we just throw a little brown sugar in there, and you're back to your regular barbecue sauce. But you can't put it in the bottle because there's bacillus will grab onto that sugar, and you have
you'd have a very alcoholic barbecue sauce, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, really? If I put brown sugar in the
that
barbecue,
actually sounds fantastic.
Yeah. I've never had a cultured or fermented hot sauce or barbecue sauce. I'm currently filling up my cart.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm
shopping while we're talking.
What was that, Mike?
I said I'm sorry. I'm shopping while we're talking.
That's great.
I don't blame you.
Okay. I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Was there or is there a temptation to move into alcoholic beverages, fermented alcoholic beverages?
Yeah. I mean,
I would imagine there's a lot more hoops to jump through to get that.
Yeah, there's a little bit more regulation. You have to register with the TTB, which is the arm of the ATF that handles alcohol regulation. And I mean, it's not that difficult, but you know, the government, it's really driven by taxes, and they want to make sure that no alcohol gets released untaxed. So there's more structure around your facility and lockdown and. You know, I mean, not that we don't do it all. I mean, at this point, we do all of that already.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that hard to do. It's just another set of logistics that we would have to deal with. So
yeah.
Maybe I'm in the process of trying to figure out where we're going to move the business. My lease is up, and so maybe when we get into a new facility and we have a little bit more space, we can move in that direction.
Excellent. You looking to stay around the same New York area?
Yeah. Yeah, we love being in New York City.
Awesome, great. I'm usually, the one that's angry at Michael, and usually our guests are from the West Coast.
So you guys live it up.
So I'm usually the one that just came in from shoveling snow, and so
right.
It's good to be able to talk to someone who can feel my pain.
Yeah, I mean, manufacturing in New York City is not easy. You definitely have to be a badass if you want to work in this town.
Yep.
Everything is exponentially more expensive, right? The real estate, the getting things from here to there. There's an upcharge for deliveries because the truckers don't want to come in here. It's just it's not easy to manufacture in New York. Yeah. But it's where we live. So
what's next? What's next for you and your company?
So BAO has done pretty well for the last 6 years without any marketing or sales support. And so that is our next focus. Probably some raising of funds to be able to get this great stuff out into people's hands.
Nice.
The people that know about it love it, but there's so many people that actually need it and don't even know it exists.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of education that has to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of education around our product.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can nudge the needle in the right direction for you too, and get this information out to our people as well. But you make some really great stuff, so we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for partnering with us with our discount club. I'm sure that once we get the word out and people hear about what's going on, that there's going to be a lot of people take advantage of that, and it's awesome what these companies they're being so generous with discount for our members, and our members are loving it, and it helps us get the word out even better about a product that we find or a company or service that we find that we really like, and it helps them find things that they're probably looking for in the first place.
That's great.
So
happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, man.
You guys are doing a great thing.
Great. Thanks, Michael.
Awesome.
I appreciate your time and hanging out with us, and we'll get together. We'll try to schedule something where I come out to your place there, and we'll shoot another interview and another segment there for you.
That sounds great. Looking
Okay.
forward to
Great.
it.
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
great.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Thank you very much.